y'all. So last year a lot of you had questions about my potato tower, and as promised I am going to make a video on how I do my potato tower for this year. I am trying something new this year. I did learn that my tower was too tall for me personally. While I was trying to dig into it to make my layers, I was cutting up the underneath of my arms. So this year I'm going to try a shorter tower and see how that works. I've also moved this closer to my house, so we're going to try a new location and see how it does. It's still a pretty sunny side of my house. It's going to give you a good couple, not say a couple hours, it's going to be a lot of sun. As you know, potatoes like their full sun. So we'll go ahead and give it a try here. So the netting cage, I guess you could say, that I'm using, we picked this up probably from like Lowe's, Home Depot type thing. It's probably got like 2-inch by 2-inch holes on the inside. You can use something like this, or chicken wire even, something that is easy to maneuver and has a good size hole, because the plant's going to want to grow out of it, and that's kind of the goal at the end of the day. So you don't want something with like a 1/4-inch hole. It's going to be too tight and it's going to be too constricting for the plant. So whatever you've got on hand, and again, I'd recommend metal, because I just don't think plastic's going to hold up for more than one season, but that's on you. I've also seen people use a laundry basket from like the Dollar Tree or Dollar Store. Just anything with holes on the side should work. But again, plastic doesn't tend to hold up well out in the elements in South Louisiana, as you know. The other materials that you'll need, I have these lawn stakes, and that's just to kind of keep the tower in place during the season. I don't know if it's necessarily needed. It probably is, but I've always done it just as a confirmation. Made me feel better about it. Also, I made a video previously about how I got them into a circle, and you can go and watch that one if you haven't watched it yet. So we'll go ahead and get started. So as you can see, our tower is secure. It is not going anywhere. So the first thing we're going to do is make a layer of the pine needles, and in our family we kind of call it like a bird nest lasagna, which is kind of the layering aspect. But we'll make a bird nest out of the pine needles first. So we'll just put them in there and then just kind of spread it out to where it's like a bowl or a bird nest type situation. Also, if you don't have pine needles, you could use straw. I think I've even seen some people use hay. It's really just kind of whatever material you have availability to, or easily on hand, something along those lines. So after we've got the bird nest layered down, we'll go ahead and add our soil. So my soil is a mixture of half cow manure compost and half potting soil. I find that worked really well for my potatoes last year. Once you've got a good bit of dirt in there, you're going to want to spread it out, kind of flatten it out, and then we'll go ahead and layer our potatoes in there. Now my potatoes, I picked them up from a local nursery, and they're specifically seed potatoes. I could touch base on that, on why I prefer a seed potato versus just picking up something from a grocery store in another post. So just keep up with that, or you could reach out to me personally and ask. So these potatoes, I left them in a paper bag to let them start growing their eyes. So they've been sitting out waiting, and then about 2 days ago I went ahead and I cut them into smaller pieces. They're not a whole potato, but they at least each have one eye. Some of them have 2 eyes. But also with the cutting them, it kind of let them scab over to where it created just not a raw side on the outside. And I find that also helps with planting and less rot. So you want to put, I put about anywhere from like 6 to 8 potatoes per layer, and you're going to want to put the eyes facing outside, so that way the plant can start to grow outside your tower. Alright, so now that we've got our potatoes in, we'll go ahead and cover it with another layer of dirt and then another layer of pine needles, and we'll start the process all over again. And again, with your pine needles, you're making like a bird nest type situation, or like a bowl, something that your dirt can sit in. Alright, and so that's it. Like I said, it's kind of like a bird nest, lasagna type situation. On your very top layer, I like to put a very thick amount of pine needles. It kind of acts like a mulch, and then it'll kind of keep the moisture in as best as it can. I always would treat it like a potted plant, so as you know, you have to kind of water them a lot more because they do tend to dry out more. But you could always kind of stick your finger in and feel what the dirt feels like, on whether you need to water it or not. I think that's about it. I will say this, I've looked at other things, other methods of growing potatoes, and I noticed that like one of the methods was like to plant it and then you let it grow a little bit, then you add more dirt, and then you let it grow a little bit more, and then you add some more dirt. With the potato tower, or what I like best is that you kind of like, you fix it and then you're done for the season, and then you just kind of wait it out until it's time to harvest the potatoes at the end. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. I'll be happy to answer with whatever my knowledge that I've gained over the last year, or at least direct you into where you need to go for it. All right, thanks.